I'm Caitlin Gear, and I teach elementary band. My first job was in Union, Missouri. I taught general music. It was an amazing experience. I grew up in Hazelwood and Florissant. So going all the way to Union, an area that's in the country, and growing up here, it was a big difference in culture to me. I loved that school. I loved it a lot, but I drove an hour to get there, so I eventually chose that an hour was too long for me to drive. It was a long drive, and traffic made it worse. So then I took off a year to raise one of my children. Then I got a job at Ferg Floor teaching band, which was my initial passion. I love music, but band is where my heart is. I miss that so much in Union. When I got involved in music, I started playing flute, or actually I started playing clarinet in 4th grade, and I played it because that's what my brother played, although I wanted to play flute. So every day at band, I cried. Finally, one day, my mom just was like, "I'm sick of you crying," and she took me and bought me a flute, and I came to school with a flute. I did something that I would be furious at, actually, if I were a teacher. I came and did not tell my teacher that I switched instruments. I sat with the flute players, and I just played flute, and I taught myself how to play flute. And I think that discovery of I taught myself, I was like, yeah, I totally got this. So eventually my director, he did realize that I switched instruments. I really learned I wanted to be a teacher. So by the time we got to high school, I really liked helping people. I liked talking to people. And my passion for music just grew and grew and grew. And when I got in high school, I had the opportunity to go to Europe. And I was invited with the ambassadors of music, and we traveled to 7 different countries. I left being someone who's never left the country before. I played music, in France, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, England. We literally went everywhere, and connecting to those people, hearing people talk in other language, it was just a really surreal experience that even though I couldn't speak their language, we connected through music. And that was super cool to me. And from that moment on, when I came home, I'm like, I want to teach music. That's it. So I chose a university based on their music program, and I went to school for it. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I stuck with, and I still obviously love it today. It's my passion. I want kids to have the exact same opportunity that I have, whereas other districts don't start band in 4th grade. First and Florissant does, and it's so cool that kids get that opportunity. And I just want to give them that chance to succeed in something. I love middle and high school band, but I really love the little kids. When they're in 4th grade, their minds are so moldable. They're like sponges. And me getting to just watch them absorb all the information and the passion these kids have. They're like 4th graders. Some of them can't even hold the instrument correctly. My trombone players can't even they can't make it to 6th position because their arms aren't long enough. They're using their legs and stuff. And it's just, but they're so passionate about it. They're like, I'm gonna do this. And they think it's so cool that they get to start band then. Other school districts have lots of money, and they provide instruments for students. Instruments are expensive. They can start, your off-brand, I call them China cheapies, can start around $150, $200, and it can go all the way up to $4,000 for an instrument. For the school to provide an instrument, the school has to agree to pay for the repair because stuff gets broken. And that's hard, and instruments are expensive. It makes a difference in what these kids are offered. Because when I first get kids signed up for band, I have over 100 kids that are interested in joining my program. They all turn in forms, they're all excited, and then I send home the rental information. And it always breaks my heart because I always get some back with the parents. The parents circle no on everything, and they're like, we can't afford that. And it kills me because that kid was so excited in being in band, but they can't afford it. And I only have so many instruments. I lend out all I have, and then I'm out of option. Not having an instrument for them, it's really hard. So I've gone through, I search garage sales. Sometimes we even have parents that actually pay for other kids' rentals. They just don't know it. They say, hey, I'm gonna give this extra money to help this other kid because I know they're struggling. And that's really heartwarming to know that, there are parents out there that do that. But it's and sometimes teachers do that as well. You don't tell the kids, otherwise they'd be embarrassed. But I think that is honestly the most difficult thing you have to do. It's not kicking a child out of band for behavior. It's telling them that I don't have an instrument for them. I want them to be in band, but I can't provide them with the tool they need to be in band. So I've been really, really lucky that that doesn't happen very often. I'm able to get an instrument somehow, whether it's an old instrument that like I look at and I'm like, I'm not playing that. That kid does not care. Like, I don't care, because I tell him, I have kids that want to play clarinet really bad, or flute, or a woodwind instrument. And woodwind instruments are expensive to repair if they break, and they're harder to clean. And I tell them, I'm like, I don't have any flutes, but I have baritones and trombones. And they're like, okay. They don't even care. They don't even care what the instrument is. They just want to play something. They just want to be part of the friend group. They just want to be part of the family. They don't really care about what you're doing in it. They just want to be a part of it. The culture here is totally different than in Union, obviously. Here, a lot of our kids are in apartments and they live with other family members, and they can't really practice at home because where they're at, in an apartment complex, they'll get noise complaints because they're beginners, and like beginner clarinet sound, duck, or elephant for beginning trombone, like it legit sounds like animal noises. And I've had a kid who actually told me they tried to play into a pillow because their neighbor kept calling the cops saying there was a duck in the wall. And it's just so funny, but I would never have thought of that growing up because my mom forced me to practice. She's like, I'm paying to rent that instrument, so you're going to practice. So I had to. Whereas at their house, they're getting complaints. So I have to kind of change the way I teach here and give them practice time during school or do after school rehearsals because they don't get to practice at home. These kids don't let that stop them. If a lot of them, I teach them how to airplay, and it sounds so silly, but even just airplaying those fingers and saying the letter names as they're doing it, it does help. It does help them.
About this, but a little bit about what I do. I teach 4 buildings, 4th through 6th grade. I teach at Bermuda, Griffith, Hallsbury, and Wedgwood. The kids will always tell you I say that's my order of my favorite, but it's not. It's just the alphabetical order. I have no favorites. I like all of them. There are 2 groups up here today. I combined them into one mass group because some of my beginning players were able to advance so well that they're actually playing with advanced band.
Beginning band is comprised of 4th graders generally, and some 5th and 6th graders that maybe didn't know that they wanted to be in band, or they transferred late to the district so they can join. It's their first year of playing an instrument. Advanced band means they have played with me for more than a year, or kids that transfer in who have already been in band. It's generally 5th and 6th graders. I do have some 4th graders though that their playing ability is outstanding, so they are able to be in advanced band because they practice at home and they give a very good effort. Because I teach at 4 different buildings, we all learn our separate parts, and it's great. And then the day of the concert, we come together, and it's very overwhelming. So we never get to practice together. We got to rehearse together for roughly 2.5 hours. It's such a good opportunity because I had kids that made friends from kids that are from 20 minutes away in the district. And I have some, kids that play instruments. They're like, I'm the only one that play this. And they met friends that play that same instrument. And it's just a good social opportunity for them as well. So that's what we did today. So being in band requires discipline, and that is one thing that I feel is one of the best qualities for these kids to learn. It teaches them that if they want to succeed, they have to learn how to discipline themselves. And I think that's really hard because they're so used to getting in trouble with adults, but them forcing themselves to practice and to sit down for a few minutes every day is hard. It was even hard for me to do as a kid. It's hard. And for them to get that skill, it's a pretty big deal. Not only that, but there's a lot of science and physics going on in making sound. You have to have your lips, they call this an embouchure. You have to have your embouchure a certain way. If your embouchure is not like that, you will get no sound out. The instrument will not work. So it's a lot of physics, a lot of science with air movement, sound, like I'm up in front. If you have a kid that's playing a certain instrument all the way in back, it takes more time for the sound to get up front. That we can talk about that in science. There's a lot of history and social studies. A lot of the pieces we played were composed, which means written years ago. So I get to talk about that type of music, like one of our songs we're playing for our concert is called Fandango El Dorado, and it's a Hispanic piece. And I got to talk about Hispanic dances and Latin, and you get to listen to those instruments that kids normally don't hear from other cultures. So that brings in diverse cultures that we get to talk about in class. Playing music is like reading a different language. It's like French, Spanish. The kids have to learn how to associate a note on the page, which is a dot with a line attached to it, to what it sounds like on their instrument. They have to attach a fingering to that note and then play it. So there's so much that goes into just making a sound that they're learning a new way to speak. They're learning how to speak through their instrument.
If you have all A's and B's in your report card, stand up. That is such a big deal. These are the leaders of your school, and we want them to stay in band because they will stay leaders. Because music just does something to you that just makes, I want to say it makes you better, but it does. It does. And we want to make sure these kids stay in music. Go band!